My partner and I experienced a fresh start on the day we officially tied the knot. We left the civil registry office in complete silence, neither of us bringing up the subject of marriage again. She decided to jet off to faraway places with her mentor, pursuing the freedom she desperately wanted. Meanwhile, I kept pushing forward with my own ventures, taking a completely different route. Fast forward 7 years. She had transformed into a top-tier travel influencer in the nation, admired by countless women as a beacon of independence. I was still grinding away at my business. Our paths crossed once more when I saw her lounging in her mentor's high-end car, chuckling as I rode my bike to work. "After all this hustle, you still can't afford a car?" she teased. I just brushed it off. Later on, when the nation's darling embraced me and called me her husband, she suddenly stepped in front of me, demanding, "Alex, how could you marry someone else? Let's break it off. You're not even worth it." Hearing Maya's voice again felt like ages ago. She looked at me with a mix of shock and disgust, waving her hand dismissively. "No way. Even if my folks pushed me, I wouldn't marry you," I responded quietly. "All right, whatever you decide." Seeing me agree without a second thought, Maya's eyes showed a flicker of surprise. "I hope you mean it. Don't cling to me anymore. I don't want another 10 miserable years with you." I'm clearly a modern woman, yet I spent a decade feeling trapped in our marriage. Maya glared at me, her voice dripping with resentment. "In this life, I'm the protagonist of my own story. I'll never let go of Ethan's feelings again." With that, she walked away, her joyful retreat blending with the memories I had of her from our past life on the day we registered our marriage. Maya wore a simple white blouse, her long dark hair cascading over her shoulders. Her understated look had somehow won my heart, and I couldn't forget her for over 10 years. We were high school classmates, and even back then, I felt something special for her. Marrying her seemed destined, even though our love wasn't built on a solid foundation. I believed that with time, I would win her heart. But after we got married, I realized how naive I had been. Maya was distant, colder than a stranger. I assumed it was just her personality until I found out she had always loved someone else, her university senior, Ethan, her first love. Ethan and Maya were inseparable during college, the perfect couple. Unfortunately, Ethan came from an average background and had some minor run-ins with the law in his youth. Although he turned his life around, Maya's parents still saw him as an unsuitable match. Despite her pleas and sacrifices, Mr. and Mrs. Parker wouldn't budge. Under their pressure, Maya chose to marry me, making Ethan her unforgettable first love, a lingering pain in her heart. In our previous life, I first met Ethan 10 years into our marriage, on the Mid-Autumn Festival. I was in the hospital with a perforated stomach from too much drinking at a work event. Maya had brought some plain congee from home for me, but when she arrived, she seemed off. Glancing at her phone nervously, I struggled to sit up and asked with concern, "Lena, is everything okay?" Maya frowned and snapped impatiently, "Don't call me Lena." I froze, stunned by the coldness in her tone, even though I knew she never had much affection for me. She had never spoken to me like that before. Her icy stare felt like a knife, piercing my heart. Realizing her harshness, Maya's expression softened slightly. "Have some congee first. I have something to handle outside." Without another word, she left. I stayed silent, unable to ask her to stay. Later, I discovered why Maya had suddenly changed her attitude. She was holding on to Ethan, not wanting to let go. "I've sacrificed almost 10 years of my youth for my parents, giving up my true love. Ethan, can't you just look back at me? I've missed you so much." Ethan sighed helplessly. "Maya, you're married now, and I'm half a public figure. What would people think if they saw us like this?" "I don't care." Maya bit back her tears, her eyes red as she continued. "Will you get back together if I divorce Alex?" Ethan pulled his hand away and responded coldly, "I'm a travel influencer with millions of followers now. What kind of woman couldn't I have? Maya, look at yourself. What's there to miss about being a housewife like you? We've been apart for 10 years. I've been chasing freedom while you've been stuck in the daily grind. We don't see the world the same way anymore." From that day, Maya completely changed. She blamed everything on me, thinking that Ethan's treatment was my fault. She began to hate me deeply, even going as far as leaking company secrets. She used the money to invest in fitness, take care of herself, and reclaim everything she felt she lost over the past decade. But no matter what she did, she couldn't make Ethan look back. Eventually, on Ethan's wedding day, Maya drugged me and set the room on fire, planning to take me down with her. The pain from the flames woke me up, and I vaguely heard Maya say, "It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been a housewife for 10 years, and Ethan wouldn't despise me now." I could only smile bitterly. Maya always blamed me, never realizing that marrying me was her own choice and that she could have stood up to her controlling parents. What was my fault? A sudden breeze cleared the clouds, and sunlight poured down on me, warming me and bringing me back to reality. Rebirth was probably heaven's mercy, and I couldn't waste this second chance. From that day, Maya and I silently cut ties, but our wedding was set for the following month. Our sudden breakup naturally faced resistance from her parents. At first, I didn't know how to explain it to relatives and friends. I hadn't expected Maya to show up at my place with Ethan, demanding I change the groom. This rebellious act infuriated Mr. Parker so much that he had a high blood pressure attack, but Maya didn't care. "You always try to force your ideas on me. I'm my own person now. I have the right to choose my life. I don't care if you collapse. I'll still be with Ethan." Hearing this, Mr. Parker rushed at her and an ambulance had to take him away. This drama saved me from explaining the wedding cancellation to relatives, who all looked at me with sympathy and pity. But now, I had no time to waste on Maya or her family. There aren't many chances to be reborn. Making money was the most important thing. In my past life, it took me 5 or 6 years to build my business, and things were going well until Maya leaked company secrets, causing everything to collapse. But now, reborn 10 years back, I wasn't going to miss the chance to start over. Plus, the internet wasn't booming 10 years ago. The golden age hadn't arrived yet. If I invested early, I'd have no money worries when things took off. With that in mind, I got to work immediately. I didn't expect to hear from Maya again while I was so busy. She and Ethan had already made their relationship public, flaunting their love on social media every day. But on the phone, Maya's voice was frantic. "Alex, why didn't you help my dad find a doctor? You know he's not well." I couldn't help but laugh at her words. In my past life, at that very moment, Mr. Parker's high blood pressure had worsened due to Maya's defiance, leading to a heart attack. When I found out, I quickly pulled some strings to get the best local doctor and arrange surgery for Mr. Parker. But Maya never once thanked me. She thought I was doing it to hold something over her. So in this life, I decided not to get involved. And now, Maya was upset. Remembering this, I laughed even harder. "Maya, didn't you tell me to stop clinging to you? So why, after breaking up with me, do I still have to take care of your parents? Where did you get that nerve?" Then I hung up and immediately blocked her number. Later, I heard that Mr. Parker's condition had worsened due to delays, leaving him with slurred speech. In the blink of an eye, 7 years had passed. During these years, I had fully leveraged my second chance and became a giant in internet media, raking in money. Today was a school reunion, and quite a few classmates were there. I saw Maya too, with Ethan by her side. When one of our classmates spotted her, they quickly stood up to greet her. "Oh wow, our busy celeb is here, Maya. I watch your videos all the time. So jealous of your life, traveling everywhere." Maya gave a slight smile. "It's just my job, but I do hope every woman can break free from marriage and live a free life like I do. Today, eat and drink to your heart's content. Everything's on me." As soon as she finished, the female classmates started praising her in unison. I glanced at them and went back to eating my food. I hadn't eaten much at lunch, so I was a bit hungry now. Since I had wrecked my stomach in my previous life from overworking, I took better care of it this time around. I had no desire to relive the agony of stomach issues. Just as I was about to continue eating, someone came over to bother me. I looked up and saw Maya smiling sweetly, holding a glass of wine. "Alex, why are you so focused on eating? Is it because you haven't had good food in a long time? But I guess it makes sense. I saw you riding your bike to work the other day. You really don't seem to be doing well, and I couldn't bear it." As she spoke, She pulled a bank card out of her bag and tossed it, landing right in my bowl. Oh dear, my bad. I wanted to help you out since you're having a tough time, but I guess the card's oily now. Don't worry, it'll still work. The password is 66666 and there's 100,000 yuan on it. Just consider it my support. Maya was acting this way because a few days ago, she saw me riding my bike to work. At the time, she was sitting in Ethan's luxury car, looking at me with disdain. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Alex, thank goodness I didn't choose you back then, or I'd be stuck as a housewife again. All these years of hard work and you still can't afford a car. I chuckled. Maya, 7 years have passed, and you're still as sharp-tongued as ever. Maya's expression instantly darkened. In our past life, Maya always despised me for not being able to give her the life she wanted, but if it weren't for her family, I wouldn't have lost everything, not even my parents' house. Maya's parents were controlling and selfish, raising their daughter to be successful solely to land a rich husband. After my parents passed away, I inherited a decent sum, which Mr. and Mrs. Parker saw as easy pickings. They did everything in their power to get Maya to marry me. They treated me kindly and brainwashed me, making me believe that everything Maya did was because she cared about me. But after my death, I overheard the Parker couple's resentment that Alex didn't have as much money as they thought. He's useless, can't even afford a house for David. David, Maya's younger brother. Whenever he ran out of money, he would ask Maya for some, and if she refused, he'd scold her. Even though it upset me, I never said anything because I felt sorry for her. I thought we were a family, but to them I was just an ATM. In this life, having cut ties with those leeches, my days couldn't be better. After hearing Maya's remarks, the classmates exchanged awkward glances and offered me their sympathy. If I had married Maya back then, wouldn't I be the one enjoying the good life now? I looked at Maya and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Maya, 100,000 yuan isn't even enough to buy this watch. Are you about to sign with Peak Media and get into acting? I had already heard from my assistant that a travel influencer with 1 million followers wanted to sign a contract and transition into acting. I didn't expect it to be Maya. I pulled out my phone and called my assistant. Cancel the cooperation with that travel influencer named Maya. Ethan burst out laughing when he heard this. Maya, is your ex-fiancé drunk? Peak Media is such a huge company, and here he is pretending. The boss's wife is the youngest movie queen, Monica. Do you really think you match up to that? And by the way, the owner of Peak Media is named Leo. Since when did Alex change his name? As Ethan spoke, he gave me a contemptuous look. Alex, I know you're useless, but you shouldn't lie either. Maya spoke in a low voice, disappointment written all over her face. Before I could respond, she turned away with Ethan, joining another group. Now, all of my classmates turned their eyes toward me, mixing mockery and ridicule. I didn't care. I glanced down at my phone. It was a new message from Monica. Honey, my car is still in for maintenance, so I'll be a bit late picking you up. In the eyes of others, Monica was a career-driven powerhouse. Almost every movie she acted in won awards. Her flawless acting and stunning looks earned her the title of the nation's goddess, but only I knew how clingy this goddess was in private. Monica often hugged me and said I was the love of her life. We met 5 years ago, back when Monica was still an extra. At the time, I had just founded a media company, taking advantage of my rebirth. Monica was passionate about acting, but she had no connections and no background, making it difficult to chase her dreams. Such a pure-hearted girl was easy prey for those who exploited others. I met Monica at a club, where she had been drugged after being forced to drink. I felt sorry for her and was reminded of my previous life, where Monica became a movie queen only after struggling at the bottom for almost 10 years. I thought that if someone helped her, her path wouldn't have to be so hard. So, under the guise of investing, I started supporting Monica. She didn't disappoint me. Her first movie was already a success. From then on, Monica's career skyrocketed, and none of her films ever flopped. She once told me I was her mentor, and she was my soulmate. 5 years after we met, Monica won her 4th Best Actress award and publicly announced our marriage. Shortly after that, we tied the knot. Because I like to keep a low profile and didn't want too much information about me in the public eye, few people knew who the real owner of Peak Media was. It was normal that Maya didn't recognize me. Thinking of Monica, I couldn't help but smile. It had been a while since we last saw each other, and I found myself missing her a bit. I replied to Monica's message. Wife, I miss you too. I know you want to go out, so we can head out once you're here. Leave the company matters to Leo. After sending the message, I put my phone away, but just then, Maya walked over to me. Alex, do you know something? Why did Peak Media contact me to reject our cooperation? What's your real identity? Hearing her question, I laughed. I'm just a regular guy who rides a shared bike to work and can't afford a car. How could I possibly affect your career? Maya let out a sigh of relief, seeming to believe my words. Exactly. Someone like you could never have any real connection to Peak Media. I must have been out of my mind to believe your nonsense, she muttered to herself, realizing what she had said. Maya shot me another disdainful look. Alex, it's not that I look down on you, but you're already 30 and can't even afford a car. You're still riding a shared bike to work. You were at least a top student once. So how did you end up doing so poorly? Do you really want your wife to stay at home as a frumpy housewife? This is irresponsible and frankly disrespectful to women. Seeing Maya like this, I knew she was venting her frustrations from our past life, but was everything as she claimed? In our previous life, after she and Ethan split, Maya hardly ever left the house. She didn't do any housework either, always waiting for food and clothes to be served. The allowance I gave her either went to her parents or to help her brother. Later on, she even complained that I hadn't made her into a rich wife, that she didn't have several maids to serve her. And now, here she was confidently saying that I forced her to be a frumpy housewife and a full-time mom. What a ridiculous accusation. I downed my glass of red wine, not wanting to waste any more words on Maya. Someone like her would probably still blame me even if the world ended. I was about to argue with her when the door to the private room suddenly opened, and in walked Leo. He scanned the room for a moment before locking eyes with me. Alex, you sneaky guy. So this is where you're hiding out, coming to a reunion without telling me. I was puzzled. How did you know I was here? Who told you? Leo rolled his eyes. You told me yourself last time. You said you'd be here at my hotel for dinner this Saturday. Forgot already? I guess all your brain power is spent on making money now. I furrowed my brow in confusion as faint memories flashed through my mind. It seemed I had told Leo, but I hadn't thought much of it, so I forgot. Realizing this, I gave Leo a playful punch. Forgotten or not, why are you here? I'm here because Mr. Jang is visiting, and of course I had to come greet him. Anyway, no more jokes. I'm here with my girlfriend for dinner, and I heard your wife Monica is about to wrap up filming. Have her go shopping with my girls soon. I've been busy lately. Before I could respond, Maya, who had been ignored all this time, suddenly chimed in, Alex, who is this? Hearing her question, I kindly explained, this is Leo, the owner of Peak Media, the company you wanted to collaborate with. Then I pointed at Maya. She's the one I had my assistant cancel the contract with. Leo nodded in understanding, about to say something before his phone rang. He quickly excused himself and left the room. After Leo left, Maya shot me a disdainful look. Alex, why are you so desperate for attention? Must be panicking after seeing how successful I've become, resorting to these cheap tricks. But your pathetic behavior only makes me look down on you more, and I'm even more certain that my decision 7 years ago was the right one. She scoffed. Peak Media's owner? Really? You just heard us mention that the boss's surname is Chen, and now you bring in some random extra to pretend he's the owner. It's hilarious. Maya's voice wasn't quiet, and a few of the classmates trying to cozy up to her also showed disdain on their faces. Alex, we're all classmates. Why be so fake? Exactly. Maya and Ethan are the perfect couple, but you're just jealous and trying to interfere. If you ask me, Maya made the right choice. If she had married you, there's no way she'd be living such a good life now. Ethan, emboldened by the classmates' praise, walked up to me and said smugly, Alex, if you want, our company is looking for a security guard. I'll pay you 7,000 yuan a month, with meals and accommodation included. It's got to be better than riding a shared bike to work. Another wave of admiration erupted from the surrounding classmates. Ethan, you're so generous. Alex, you should thank him. Ethan, you're a big shot. Is there any chance you could give me a recommendation? Listening to their increasingly ridiculous comments, I couldn't hold back my laughter. I leaned back in my chair, lazily looking at everyone. Ethan, I heard you started a small media company. Why are you trying to send Maya to Peak? Can't afford to support her anymore, or are you going bankrupt? Ethan's face stiffened and he glanced nervously at the classmates staring at him. Then he snapped, Alex, what nonsense are you talking about? Our company is doing just fine. Why would you curse us? I looked at Ethan coldly. My assistant had already informed me of their situation. The real reason Ethan wanted Maya to sign with Peak was because their business was struggling, and they were deep in debt. Although Maya was a well-known travel influencer with a strong, independent woman persona, there were limited ways to monetize it. On top of that, they spent money extravagantly, relying on live streams and sponsorships to make ends meet. But their content quality had declined, leading to a loss of followers, and their account was even at risk of being banned. So, they were desperately looking for a new opportunity at Peak. But now, it seemed like that door had closed. Seeing that Maya and Ethan were losing the argument, a few sycophants chimed in again. Alex, you're just bitter. Why can't you stand seeing them live a good life? Hurry up and apologize to Ethan. Ethan, seeing that everyone was on his side, grew more arrogant and said smugly, Alex, since we were classmates, if you apologize, I'll let this go. I chuckled lightly. Apologize? You think you're worth it? My bold attitude successfully attracted everyone's attention. People started to whisper among themselves, but I couldn't be bothered to care. At that moment, the door opened again, and this time, it wasn't just anyone. It was my wife, Monica. She wore an elegant long dress, her shiny black hair cascading over her shoulders. Monica's fame was undeniable. The moment she stepped in, someone recognized her. Aren't you Monica, the Grand Slam Best Actress? Wow, seeing you in real life, I'm a huge fan. Can we take a picture? I really love your work, Best Actress. Who are you here to see? Isn't it obvious? It has to be someone from Maya's circle after all. Only the rich and powerful are here. Monica was surrounded by the crowd and could only greet them politely while her eyes searched for me, but there were so many people that she didn't spot me right away. Miss Monica, let me introduce myself. I'm going to be the newest actress signed by Peak Media. We met at Peak before, and you even complimented me on my potential, Maya said with her chin held high, looking as proud as a swan. Wow, how long before I can be like Maya? Just casually meeting someone as big as Monica? If Monica praised her, Maya must be on her way to stardom. As whispers of admiration filled the room, Maya's smile grew even more triumphant, but Monica furrowed her brow in confusion upon hearing her words. Who are you? I'm sorry, miss, but I don't recall meeting you. I've been busy filming recently, so you must be mistaken. Monica's words instantly silenced the room. I couldn't help but laugh, and in the sudden quiet, my laughter stood out, echoing loudly. Hearing it, Monica's eyes lit up immediately. She pushed through the crowd, and as soon as she saw me, she rushed over and hugged me. Honey, I've missed you so much. Monica's actions were like a bomb going off in the room, sending shockwaves through the crowd. Ethan was the first to recover, quickly stepping up to Monica and saying cautiously, Miss Best Actress, how can Alex be your husband? Isn't your husband supposed to be the boss of Peak Media? A man named Leo. Monica's face turned cold. Do I not know who my own husband is? Leo is a shareholder at Peak. He's the one who handles external affairs. Then she playfully pinched my cheek. My husband's a bit of a social recluse. If I hadn't dragged him to this reunion today, who knows how long it would have been before I could introduce my handsome husband to my fans. While Monica had many fans in the entertainment world, hers weren't the obsessive type. Instead, they respected her, mostly admiring her for her career. It was no secret that I had supported her success, and her fans affectionately called me brother-in-law, but I didn't like exposing my personal life to the public, so it had taken me a long time to be comfortable revealing our relationship today. Maya, stunned by the sight of Monica and me being so intimate, quickly stumbled over. Why? Alex, how could you marry someone else? Why didn't you tell me that you're the boss of Peak Media? Were you playing with us all along? Monica had effectively confirmed my identity. Even if Leo was a hired actor, there was no way a national idol like Monica would sacrifice her reputation just to put on a show for someone else. But as I listened to Maya's endless questioning, I lost all patience. Maya, I told you from the beginning that Peak wouldn't work with you. If I had known earlier that it was you negotiating for the deal, I wouldn't have let you through the door. And as for why I married someone else, well, I love Monica, and she loves me. I don't believe you. You've been lying to me, Maya shouted in a frenzy. How could you be successful? You were supposed to live in poverty for the rest of your life. You're just a liar. You could barely support me. So how could you possibly be the boss of Peak Media? I don't believe it. Hearing Maya's words, you could possibly be the boss of Peak Media? I don't believe it. Monica's face darkened. Miss, please don't spread lies. I know what kind of man my husband is, and he certainly wouldn't be interested in someone as mean and bitter as you. Oh, now I remember who you are. You're the woman who abandoned your parents in the name of freedom, but taking all your father's medical funds and running off. If that's your idea of freedom, it's nothing more than selfishness and hypocrisy. Monica's quick tongue didn't hold back, and her words left Maya speechless. At that moment, the door to the private room opened once again. Maya's eyes widened in shock, and she cried out, Dad, Mom, why are you here? Her words instantly drew the attention of everyone in the room. How did you find this place? Maya stared at her parents, who, after 7 years, had aged significantly. Her mother's once well-kept hair had turned almost entirely gray. Maya seemed confused, not understanding why they were here. But before she could react, Mrs. Parker raised her hand and delivered a heavy slap to Maya's face. Ungrateful daughter, how dare you ask why we're here? You took your father's medical money and ran off with this man. You two are living the high life, but did you ever think about us? I must have been cursed to give birth to a daughter like you. Monica was right. Back then, Maya had taken the money meant for her father's recovery, leaving him paralyzed and half disabled. Her younger brother, David, turned out to be just as useless, and Mrs. Parker had to take on a job washing dishes just to support the family. After becoming a social media influencer with millions of followers, Maya had blocked all contact with her family. Seeing Maya stunned into silence, Mrs. Parker delivered another slap. Look at how we're living, and look at you, living in luxury, growing younger and plumper by the day. Then she kicked Maya's leg, forcing her to kneel. Mom, I know I was wrong, but if it weren't for your preference for boys over girls, I wouldn't have ended up like this. Maya glared angrily at her mother. Ma'am, Maya's earning a lot now. She's a famous influencer. You'll be living a good life soon, I added sarcastically. Mrs. Parker, now indifferent to the fact that people were recording on their phones, began beating Maya again. You disappeared without a trace for 7 years. You're nothing but a curse. Now buy your brother a house and a car, or you'll regret it. Everyone loves to watch a scandal. If you don't come back and behave, I'll expose all the terrible things you've done. You can kiss your influencer career goodbye. Mom, how could you do this? Before Maya could finish, another slap landed across her face. Shut up, you worthless daughter. I coldly watched the farce unfold, then pointed at Ethan. Maya, is this your great judgment? This is the freedom you've been chasing, the man you've loved for almost 10 years. Just standing there, letting you get beaten without lifting a finger. Ethan, shaken by my words, finally snapped out of his daze and rushed over to help Maya up. Maya, don't listen to Alex. You and Auntie can talk this out. No need to get physical. His attempt to smooth things over was weak and only proved what I already knew. Ethan was exactly the kind of spineless man my investigations had revealed him to be. In our previous life, Ethan had forced Maya to abandon her family and elope with him in the name of so-called freedom. But what no one knew was that he had only gotten close to her because he had his eye on her parents' savings. It was only when Ethan found out that Maya had a younger brother, the pampered prince of the family, that he couldn't stand the idea of dating someone who would always prioritize her brother. That's when he made a hasty exit. In this life, Maya took a large sum of money and left with him voluntarily. She used her rebirth to her advantage, quickly becoming a self-made social media influencer. She made money and obediently catered to Ethan's every whim. Otherwise, someone as fickle and opportunistic as Ethan would never have stayed with her. Yet Maya didn't seem to mind Ethan's earlier indifference. Instead, she turned her gaze toward me after hearing what I said. "Alex, did you call my mom here? Why are you so evil? Always trying to ruin my happiness." I couldn't help but burst into laughter. "Maya, don't make yourself out to be the victim. Your mom came to find you. That's your own business. How is it my fault? Besides, your mom isn't wrong. Those are the parents who raised you. After all, in our previous life, most of our money had been taken by Maya and given to her parents. When I got sick and couldn't even afford the hospital bills, I had to plead with Maya. Since her family didn't seem to need much money, I asked if we could keep a little for ourselves, but Maya just glared at me in annoyance. Alex, those are my parents who raised me. They're old now, and they deserve to enjoy life. You're young. Just take some medicine if you're sick. Why are you so fussy? It's just a little money, and look how stingy you are." Back then, Maya looked down on me from her high horse, acting as if her parents had suffered terribly. But now that she's been reborn and is making money, she's suddenly too stingy to give much to her own parents. She even complains about giving them 1,000 yuan in living expenses each month. Isn't that the ultimate double standard? Maya's face turned red and then pale. "I know how to take care of my parents. But Alex, you shouldn't have called my mom here. You just wanted to embarrass me." It seemed she was convinced that I had called her mom, and no amount of explanation would change her mind. I was about to leave with Monica when there were too many people here, and continuing this argument was pointless. But Monica stopped in her tracks, pulling her hand away from mine. I turned around and saw her standing in front of Maya, a mocking expression on her face. "Mrs. Parker, right? I don't know why you're so sure that my husband is the one making your life difficult, but as a woman, I have to tell you, if you build up too much of an image for yourself, it's bound to collapse." I've been married to Alex for almost 3 years, and he's nothing like the men you've been describing. Monica's words were an indirect way of standing up for me. Immediately, the people who had mocked me earlier came rushing over, eager to curry favor. "Alex, we've known each other for so long. Does your company need more people?" I never believed what Maya said in the first place. It's just that there were so many people around, listening to their attempts to flatter me. I felt nothing but disgust. Just moments ago, they had been stepping on me to please Maya, and now they were acting like nothing had happened. I didn't want to waste any more time on them, so I turned around and started leaving with Monica. But just as we reached the elevator, Maya came running after us, out of breath. She stretched out her arm to block me, biting her lip. "Alex, how are you so successful in this life? You were supposed to have nothing." I stopped and turned to look at her, speaking slowly and clearly, because this time, my wife is Monica. She loves me. She's kind, and she didn't cling to a memory of her first love while forcing her husband to sell their home just to clean up her family's mess. And most importantly, Monica isn't like certain women who can't stay loyal and even end up personally causing someone's death. Maya froze, her face going pale, fear slowly filling her eyes as she stared at me in disbelief. You've come back too, haven't you? You've been reborn as well, haven't you?" She shook her head frantically, trembling all over. "I should have known." At that moment, Maya finally realized that I too had been reborn. Monica and I went home together. On the way, I told her a story. Once upon a time, a man loved his wife deeply, believing that if he treated her well enough, she would appreciate him. But in the end, the man lost everything. His wife killed him, and then they were both reborn, back to 10 years ago. So, they made different choices in this new life. After finishing the story, I blinked my stinging eyes, about to say more, but Monica held my hand tightly. "Honey, the past is the past. We can create a better future." Monica wasn't stupid. She could see that there was a past between me and Maya, and given how smoothly my business was running, it was almost as if I had known what would happen all along. I took a deep breath and spoke to her seriously. Monica, I never wanted to hide anything from you. I just didn't know how to explain it. But please believe me when I say that I truly love you. The reason I didn't want to go public was that I was afraid your fans would think I wasn't good enough for you. Can you forgive me? Monica shook her head gently and smiled. Honey, I don't care about anything else. The only thing I love is you. Monica didn't ask anything more. Just like she said, the past couldn't be changed, and the future was bright and promising. We took advantage of Monica's break and went on a fun trip out of town for a few days, but as soon as we got back, Leo told me that Maya and I were trending on social media. For the past few days, Monica and I had turned off our phones so we could focus on each other. When we got online, I finally understood what Leo meant. It all started when someone posted a video of the reunion. People were amazed that Monica's husband had finally shown his face in public. At the same time, others were busy tearing down Maya, whose carefully crafted image of being a woke, independent, cultured woman had completely crumbled. It turned out she didn't even take care of her own parents. Because Maya had so many brand deals, companies began demanding compensation from her. In just a short time, she had lost every penny she had earned over the years. On top of that, Ethan hadn't paid off his gambling debts, and soon enough, the two of them became public enemies, hated by everyone. Then Monica made a bold move by posting a picture of us on her social media with the caption, "To my sweet fans, here's the husband I've kept hidden for 3 years. I'm finally showing him off. Please don't roast him. He's got a fragile heart." Her fans, who called themselves Notes because Monica could do everything well except sing, loved the post. Monica's post pushed our story and Maya's to new heights. When my assistant released evidence proving that Maya and I had no connection, her fans went after her even harder. With that, Maya's dream of breaking into the entertainment industry was officially shattered. She had been a guest on a few variety shows, but now the shows were either delayed or pulled from the air. Fans of the other celebrities and influencers on those shows were furious and made sure to let their voices be heard. Seeing Maya in this state, I felt satisfied. After all those high-priced breach of contract clauses she signed were part of the plan I had set in motion. Maya had killed me in my past life, and I had never forgiven her for it. I thought Maya had disappeared from my life for good, but just a few days later, she showed up outside my company. Her face was haggard, dark circles under her eyes, and she was about to kneel before me as soon as she saw me. It was obvious that she had been going through hell. Alex, we were married for 10 years. We've known each other for almost 20. Can't you help me? Just this once. I'm going crazy. The debt collectors are after me nonstop. My mom is even forcing me to marry a 60-year-old man just so my brother can buy a house. I'm only 27. How did my life become such a mess? Watching Maya cry with snot and tears streaming down her face, I instinctively took 2 steps back to put some distance between us. I was disgusted. Maya, when you were 30, you lived a life of luxury, and yet you complained about being a washed-up housewife, living a terrible life. I looked down at her from above, my tone flat. From where I'm standing now, that life seems a lot better than the one you're living today. But isn't this what you wanted? You were willing to kill me for Ethan, and now this is your punishment. Even after being reborn, your mind is still fixated on that man. Don't you realize Ethan was the one who tricked you into signing those contracts? All the money you lost went through your hands, not his. You're the one deep in debt, not him. If you want someone to save you, go find Ethan. Maya stared at me in disbelief, her eyes wide. That's impossible. Ethan wouldn't do that to me. He loves me and only me. He said he was out raising money. Maya, I'm sure Ethan's been missing for a few days now, hasn't he? I didn't need to say anything more. She already understood. There was no point in continuing the conversation. I got into my car and drove away, leaving Maya far behind, shrinking into nothing more than a tiny black dot in the distance. The next time I heard about Maya was on the news. After being forced by her parents to marry a 60-year-old bachelor, She suffered unbearable abuse and ended up killing the man. Then, under the cover of night, she grabbed a butcher's knife and stormed into her parents' house, killing her three closest relatives. By the time the Parker family's bodies were discovered the next day, blood had flowed from their home out into the street, and Maya had vanished. When the police finally caught her, they found her lying beside Ethan's lifeless body, smiling crazily as she muttered, "I made the wrong choice. I want to start over.